We're live. All right, so we're back from our break. Now we're going to talk about the transportation bill. What is it? It's H868. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about S184, the automatic traffic law enforcement. We also are going to talk to Don.
But that's later.
Yeah, that's later. Getting ahead of myself.
You are.
So the automatic traffic law enforcement, we have a request to Donna for an amendment.
Correct.
On the perpetuity change.
Correct.
So we can talk about that. We're also looking at an amendment to deal with the public records request. I didn't thank you for your note yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to respond. I was going to send you an email. So I told the senators what you told me, that Pennsylvania does exempt the images from public records, but Connecticut doesn't. One question that came up is, do we know if there are any other similar, like, are other traffic violations exempt, or those are all recovered?
There would need to be something specific in law, and I don't know if there is anything specific in law, because the Public Records Act itself specifically, it lists a bunch of exemptions, and then within that it specifically says, except we don't mean traffic violations. There may be some traffic violations that are, but I didn't look into that.
But in general, it looks like they're all
It looks as though it's intended, yes.
to not be exempt, like that you
Correct.
can collect that data.
The one thing that, and you know, you may want to talk with,
Collect the data or make the data public.
make it public if someone requests it. The one thing that I wasn't sure about is that the language in the Public Records Act is a little bit broad, and I'm not entirely sure if it covers the recorded images. It might, you know, it might be that the complaint itself is publicly available, and I didn't know if somehow the recorded image might not be, and that seemed to be what the issue was. But the Public Records Act was pretty broad in what it said. Well, actually, I've got it here. I can tell you what it says about.
I mean, I don't mind I don't think it's an issue whether it's the image or not.
Okay.
Because the license plate number would be written on the ticket or on the violation, so I think they could get that either way.
Yeah. It says records relating to, records
exemptions.
This is it's specifically saying here are a bunch of exemptions, but this is not exempted.
Oh, okay.
It says records reflecting the initial arrest of a person, including any ticket, citation, or complaint issued for a traffic violation, as that term is defined in 23 VSA.
Is that all connected to being arrested? Or is it more expansive?
It says any ticket, citation, or complaint issued for a traffic violation, as that term is defined in 23 VSA 2302. And 2302 has a lot of different definitions of traffic violations, and one of them is something that has no jail time, but a fee of less than $1,000. And so it seemed as though it would fit within that exemption. But
that non-exemption.
Exactly, non-exemption. Exactly.
So I'm thinking that I can't think of an argument that I would make on the floor of why we would make these exemptions.
I agree. And so if a car was parked on the side of the interstate and the cops had to recite it and give a ticket, that would be public information, right?
Yeah.
I think this is comparable. So the public at large should know that vehicle is violating that, and that would be a state issued citation or towing.
And maybe that's part of the pilot.
Yeah. I was going to say, we got to remember this is pilot.
And they can find out if there's issues there. So I guess the request is to alter
do an amendment with 2 instances.
2 instances of amendment, or maybe 3, because the perpetuity is listed twice, but I guess that's one amendment.
Well, that was a question I had for you. I did it in 2 different ways. I didn't know if you prefer to have by striking out the word and inserting in lieu thereof, or if you preferred to have the whole thing written out, so I did it both ways.
Okay.
For the perpetuity.
If you have copies, you can hand them out.
Okay. Would you mind giving one to Megan, because I haven't given it to her. So that's the one striking out, and then this is the one that's,
So can I go
You
see
say, for not fewer than 3 years.
I know.
Wouldn't it be, since 3 years is dissectable, be less than 3 years?
I thought about that this morning.
This was an amendment on the floor. that-
no, it's, fewer is when it's dissectable. Less is when it's not.
I thought that I had.
You have less gasoline in your car, you have fewer books on your shelf.
So wouldn't 3 years be dissectable?
Correct, so it's fewer, it's like books. You just flip the
But books aren't
rule.
dissectable.
Exactly, you flip the rule, that's all.
Fewer books. You didn't say less books.
But years are like books.
Yeah.
Exactly, so
That's why
fewer
she's
books.
got fewer.
Much ado about nothing. I have a strong
I,
preference.
yeah, well, we will hear from the grammar police.
Less than 3 years, but.
This has been looked at by editing, and I'm kind of grammar police myself, so. I'm pretty sure this is
But
correct.
that thought did enter my.
So this is one version and then there's a different.
And then the other version is, it's the same thing, it's just that I didn't know how you liked it, if you liked having the whole thing written out or not.
So we have it two, because there's two versions of in perpetuity, is that why?
No, the one that says first and second,
This, I'm sorry, I didn't hand this,
Oh.
this.
the one that says first and second,
So do I have two copies of the same? There's not.
yes, I gave you a copy to give to the senator.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I thought maybe that. Okay.
So yes, the one that says first and second is I just didn't know what format you preferred, and I had the
Right.
time, so I did it both ways. So this one is just, the one that says first and second is just striking out a word and inserting another word.
I see.
And then the other one strikes the entire section out and puts the words in, so you can see the
I
context.
prefer this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's more clear.
But that only deals with the in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Correct, so the other one. Whoopsie.
So this is the one post.
So I can post this, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then these are just striking that subdivision, I think, or subsection, I can't remember what it is.
So what we're gonna do is one. Oh, you
Right, you're gonna combine these two.
So we'll have
Got it.
3 in the end. This is dealing with the public records exemption, which
Correct.
we've agreed.
Yeah.
And then the third one was,
There's the two for perpetuity and then the public records.
okay, so.
So I'll just add a third and stick this onto it, and
Yeah,
then shall I, this will be for Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just find you later today and give you a copy?
yeah, and
Okay,
I'll give it to them, so it could be in the calendar.
okay.
Let me just make sure that that section.
Okay.
It's, what section, we don't say what section of the bill it is.
And that is difficult to tell, but it's actually an L, not a 1 in the Public Records Act, because Ls and 1s look so much the same.
Okay.
Yes, and it should be.
From grammar.com, if you're using a plural noun to measure a chunk or amount of money or time, then you should use less than the example in parentheses, less than 5 years, less than $2,500. I'm just saying there could be another fewer than based on the arguments that were made.
What does it tell you to do with a possessive
disagree.
pronoun with a
I was a
gerund?
former English professor.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Grammar.com.
I think sometimes it's not right.
So they're saying because it's years,
Count and non-count.
what, what?
Count and non-count.
Well, it's on the internet.
It's fake.
But they're saying that you should use fewer than, less than, because,
It's
A
a
year?
plural noun, since your noun years, if it was year, they would say use fewer, but if you're using a plural
A fewer
noun,
year? That makes no sense.
it's on the internet. All right,
That argument too.
I can cite it, but no, I'm not trying to make a case out of this, just could be another discussion.
When I worked here full time, I had my Strunk and White right next to me, and I don't have it with me, so I can't.
I've got one at home.
I've got mine at home also.
For the record, I could care less. This was just
But it
an
wasn't
amendment
the-
on the last bill we had. the DMV bill.
Actually, I got, Grandma was suggesting that I've always been trained to use a possessive pronoun with a gerund. And this was correcting it and was like, I still went with, because a gerund is a verb form ending in ing. You remember that, right?
Right.
So my leaving was a great disappointment, or my leaving was a source of celebration.
You're not supposed to do that, or what's the,
Instead of me leaving,
oh, yeah.
me leaving.
Right.
People use me all the time, it drives me crazy. It's
Or they
not-
use
Me and my
I,
mother.
or they use I when they should use me,
Yeah.
Yes, that's
which is
true.
also,
Yes. Uh-huh.
that and which is one of my
So do we wanna take a vote on?
I know, and that and which, I always like, oh my God, is it that or which?
Oh, I'll tell you the easy rule afterwards.
All right, good.
Okay, we're just gonna let editing decide that it's fewer than.
They said it was fine, so.
Well, they said the other one was fine, but we ended up in.
But they
more.
didn't change it because they said they were just using
Oh,
the
the federal
federal
law.
language.
Oh.
So they didn't,
Why?
so the editors didn't change.
They felt that they had to use what was in the federal, so.
Look, and I'm glad you arrived, we're discussing grammar.
Okay, so yeah, so
Okay, I can make
we
those.
don't need to vote on it because it's a
Yeah.
amendment that
We're
all
all,
of us are.
yeah, so
Do
are
you
you?
wanna put Senator Maz's name on there? Do you care about this, Senator Maz?
Whatever.
I'll put your name on,
We'll put Senator Maz's name on here right now. It's not on there.
Okay.
and then is second reading of this today?
But should Ingles be on there if he's not here?
Yes,
He
because
agreed with it yesterday. I mean,
I think he was fine.
we didn't talk about the public records request, so I will just double check. I assume he's gonna be a fine, but if not, I'll do a quick change with
Okay.
taking his name on.
Besides, you could do it before.
You can make an amendment to put it back on
No, when are you gonna introduce the amendment?
Tuesday.
So you can,
Yeah, no, we have time.
you have plenty of time to see what he wants to do.
Yeah.
My only point,
Yeah.
unless you're putting it in the calendar.
I was gonna put it in the calendar today. I guess I could wait and just do it as a non-calendar amendment to make sure he's okay with it. Or we could put it in the calendar and then if there's a change, we can sit.
I just text him and say,
Yeah,
this is,
yeah, I'll text.
that would be the easiest. All right,
By the time Donna gets it to me,
yeah, we'll know.
he's somebody that looks at his phone. I'm sure you would get the text.
Was he sleeping in today?
Well,
He said it's a field trip.
Ethan Allen, furniture in Orleans.
In the district. Okay, thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
All right, so now we're on to,
We're back to Donna.
we are,
Although we were, so at 10, we have Representative Coffey. Do we have Logan today? He's here.
Say again.
Okay, I didn't know, because I know we talked
I don't
about
think
it.
I'm on.
Okay,
are you on, no, you're not. You're here in
Something comes
in
in.
a supportive capacity.
Thank you.
Okay.
okay.
So,
Do we want
looks
to?
like the floor is, the house is probably still on the floor.
She said she could take a break at
Okay,
10.
Yeah, I think they expect to be on for most of the morning.
Oh, if last
Okay.
night was any indication.
so maybe we'll just talk a little bit what my goal was for this before, and then we can take a little break and then have coffee, then come back to the bill after that. Was start going through it section by section and then just saying whether it's
Closed.
closed, we're fine with it, or we need to have Donna do more work, or we wanna get more testimony, see which ones we can close out, even though we don't have the bill yet, but it doesn't look like it's gonna change. There's more like appropriations or ways and means, had any issues. So that's what we're gonna do, but instead of, unless you wanna try to start it, or do you guys want to take a 15-minute break and then just wait till we hear from Representative Coffey?
I'm just concerned about Donna's time. Were you gonna be here when Representative Coffey? You were. You-
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with whatever you'd like to do.
You could go do the amendment.
Do that.
Okay, and then we'll come back at 10.